Hello, I thought I should do a tutorial on how to actually get your objects rendered to a still image, because that is what the assignment asks for. I think a lot of you would probably admirably fake your way through, but just wanted to let you know one or two smart ways to do it. Let's start with, I've got my 4 shapes that you have maybe or maybe not seen in previous tutorials. I don't have the full 7 yet. I'm not quite there, but you don't need the full 7 just to render. I will just give you the basics though. What you should have, if you don't have anything else other than your objects, other than your NURBs in your NURB Exhibition, and you hit the render button, you're just gonna see your shapes on black, and they're not gonna look much different than they do here in the editor. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is probably colorize them, right? So I think what we'll do is make a, I don't know, let's just do a classic strawberry, since that's my favorite color. Strawberry. Okay, and if you don't like to mix your own matte looking colors, by the way, there are hours and hours more that we could spend on materials, but I'm just gonna get some simple colors in here. If you don't like these boring flat colors, these RGB colors, you can go under Create in your Materials Manager. You can't see the bottom here, but that's okay. I'm gonna use these top ones. And go to Extensions. And you can select something like, ooh, Bonzi is a nice wood. Let's go to Create, Extensions. Sheen. Sheen is kind of weird. Let's go with Danelle. That's sort of like a glossy gray. That's interesting. I wanna put that on this little pinata thing. Let's see, sub D. Let's drag that up to the subdivision surface itself and hit render and see. There we go. Now we have a glossy shape. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of making reflectance later. Let's make this vaguely Asian looking character. This is what? Symmetry. It's my symmetry object. I'm gonna make that into the strawberry color. Our extrusion. Let's see, node material presets. Hey, we've got car paint in here. Let's put car paint in, go to create node material presets. You can't see it, it's just out of my screen, but I'm gonna select gold. There's a gold preset. I'm gonna make my bool gold. And let's make my puzzle piece, my extruded puzzle piece, have car paint. And I'm gonna hit this button right here. I can also hit Command R. Okay, those are looking pretty good. I don't love the gray. Maybe I will do, what? Under node material presets, there is plastic. Plastic is at least blue. Let's replace the glossy gray on subdivision surface with a blue color. And we need a floor and we need some lights, because I don't want a black background. I want to be able to see some shadows here. So what I'm going to do is come over here to this object right here. This is a floor object. And for now, floor will work. When we get into a little bit more complex rendering techniques, we won't be able to use floor. We'll need to use just a flat plane under here, but let me not scare you about that just yet. Let's add a floor and let's add some lights. Now, my favorite kind of light, just for basic, fairly accurate lighting, is an area light. Now remember, to get to these sub menus under these buttons, you click and hold. Here's our area light. Can't see anything right now because it's below the floor. Here it is. If I rotate around a little bit, you can see that it's just a flat plane, and I can change the shape of it. I can make it tall or I can make it wide. I'm gonna leave it fairly square like it was by default. And let's go ahead and Command R. Well, Command R is the same as this render view. Okay, so it's lighting our shapes, but we don't have any shadows, and we also have this weird sort of band gradient, black band right there. We don't want that. So let's select our light object, and under the General tab, let's make sure that shadow is activated, and we want area shadows. Area shadows look the best. I'm gonna hit Command R again to render to the viewport. All right, so it's starting to work now. That's kind of a long, spooky shadow. I'm going to move my light with my move tool up a little bit, and I'm going to hit R to rotate it down a little bit. Let's hit Command R to render. Okay, not too bad. This is a little bit weird over here. I think I'm going to add a second light. Yeah, I'm going to add a second light. I'm going to hold down Control, drag out this second light, and maybe rotate that a little bit like that. And I'm also on, I'm going to call this light 2. Light 2, I'm going to take the intensity down to like 70% because I don't want 2 super bright lights. Shadow is still on. Okay, that's good. Let's hit Command R or render. All right, now we're starting to get somewhere. My strawberry is a little bit bright. I'm going to take that down just a bit and maybe add some reflectance. Whoa, what happened there? Let's get rid of default specular. I just deleted the default specular layer up here under layers, and that is much better already. It's got some noise in there that I would probably fix if I were to spend more time on this, but let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's a little better. There's not quite so much blown out pink tones there. All right, let's just call this good. Feel free to spend more time than I did lighting this thing, but for this assignment, your very first one, no stress yet. We haven't learned all of the details, but that is a good way. And you know what? If I wanted a different floor color, I want a pure white floor, so I'm just going to make a pure white floor color here. I don't want a reflective floor. Just want, you never want to go to 100% white, but let's go to like 96 or 97%. Call that white. And we're going to drag that onto our floor. There we go. This would be a suitable NURB exhibition for you to turn in. I'm going to actually lift up all of these objects just a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. I don't know if you can hear that weird sound upstairs, but I'm pretty sure there are several military tanks holding a military parade upstairs. All right, now I've got my lighting, I've got my materials on my objects. I now need to render. If you remember from class, we came to render settings, which is that far right slate. And under output, I changed mine to 1920 by 1080 for no other reason, because this is not video, for no other reason than to memorize those numbers. This doesn't obviously have to move, but and we want frame range to stay on current frame width and height. All right, as long as we tell it a place to save and change our format. I like to render out PNGs. Let's click under here, under File, on this button with 3 dots on it, and say NURB let's see, how do you misspell exhibition? Like that? Okay. Save it to my 480 folder. And then when I click this middle button, which is Render to Picture Viewer, I'm going to be able to see it in my picture viewer, and it's also going to render a PNG to that folder, my 480 folder that I just specified. And that, actually I should have saved it as a JPEG. You can turn in PNG or a JPEG, it doesn't tremendously matter. JPEGs obviously are smaller, and in the assignment it does ask for JPEGs, but I will not reject a PNG if you so desire. If you want to change it to JPEG though, you know where to do it, right? Under here, under the Save tab, and under Format, select JPEG. All right, now if I were to click Render to Picture Viewer again, it would ask me if I want to replace my old one. And I generally don't like to overwrite things like that, so I might go in here and say Exhibition 2. There we go, now I should have a JPEG. And that's what I'm going to upload to Learning Suite. Okay, I have rambled on long enough. Thanks for listening. Talk soon. Bye-bye.